Keir Starmer's approval rating is at an all-time low, and the Labour Party have fallen massively behind Reform, who have took big leaps in recent months ahead of all the other parties. But when you start seeing interviews online, and not just Keir Starmer, but other Labour politicians, of how they tiptoe and skip around subjects, and when they're asked a question, they'll do anything but answer the question, and they'll give you a pre-scripted answer, and it won't even answer the question or even be slightly related. And the person will press them, no, you're not answering the question, and they'll just relay the same thing that they've just said. And when you start thinking, if your approval rating is absolutely in the toilet, wouldn't you get to a point where you'd start thinking, do you know what? I might actually just not give an F and start actually answering questions properly and start telling people what I actually think and start being a bit true. And do you know what? As much as I don't really rate Labour or Keir Starmer, if he actually started telling the truth and actually started being honest, and I know a lot of people say, well, he can't be honest, and that's just who he is. But, if he actually changed tack, and I know some people say, oh, yeah, well, he's only doing that because he knows he's losing. But you'd have a lot more respect for the guy if he was just a little bit more honest. And when somebody asks him a hard question, if he just said, do you know what, hands up, we screwed up there, we shouldn't have done that, this was a mistake, da-da-da-da-da, we need to be a bit better. You know what I mean? You would have so much more respect for him, and you would have a bit of patience. You'd have a bit more patience in maybe letting them have a little bit more time in getting the plan to unfold. But when it's a bit like, oh, we're doing this and we're not really going to tell you why, and this, that, and the other, and people are asking them, well, have you thought of that? And they're just like, oh, well, we're not really interested in answering things that the majority of the people in the population want to know. It just gives you a bit of a bad feeling straight away, a bad aura about the whole party and the politics and the MPs that are in charge of the country. And I think you need honesty in that position, because I think they get that ahead of themselves. They don't realise that they're working for the people. We have voted them in, and our opinions matter. And I think when they get the position, it's just like, what people think, we know what's best. We know what's best for the people. What people think doesn't matter. And really it does. And I think if you had a little bit more humility and a little bit more of a connection to the working people and the people out in the UK who were struggling, and actually talk from the heart more and not from the media training that you've had, I think you'd have a bit more of synergy and a bit more of a connection, and people have a bit more patience with you and a bit more understanding. But when you're sneaky and you lie and you say stuff that don't match your actions, then people get very angry very quick. And people are a bit more understanding when you're honest with them. It kind of needs to change sooner rather than later, really.